Hi, my name is Bailey, and you may look at me from the outside and think that I've had a very normal life, and it does seem like that, but little do you know, my parents were told something else when I was born. Alrighty, welcome. This is my mom. Say hi, Mom.
Hi.
This is my dad. Say hi, Dad.
Hello.
Dad, can you tell me about what happened when I was born and why doctors told you that I may not have a normal life?
Go ahead, Mom. You may start.
Okay. You were born about 3 weeks early, induced because my doctor said that we needed to do that. But when you were born, your cord was wrapped, the umbilical cord was wrapped around your neck. But we didn't think there was any problems at the time because they didn't notice anything wrong with you. As you started getting older, the doctor told us, your pediatrician told us you were hitting your milestones. But then we noticed certain things that you weren't doing, like you didn't nurse, you had a hard time with bottles and things like that. And then when you start getting older, you had a hard time going up and down steps. You couldn't unless we helped you. Even though you were walking, you couldn't do it without help. And you loved bubbles, but you couldn't blow bubbles. You couldn't even form your lips to blow the bubbles. And when you were a baby, you didn't want to crawl. You just kind of scooted everywhere for the longest time. And you would crawl, but you would more scoot, but you didn't want to get up and walk. So you were a little behind in that. And the doctor kept saying, she's fine, she's meeting milestones. But your dad and I kept going, something's not right, because we felt that you were lacking in certain areas. Finally, I think it took us a while arguing with the pediatrician to get you set up for some testing.
Yeah.
Because at first he said he didn't think there was any issues.
When Mom was giving birth, the doctor said he found the cord around your neck. Your heart rate started to spike and then started to go down along with the oxygen saturations. And then he turned around and he pushed the delivery a little bit faster than it would have as soon as you came out. It took you a little bit before you were stimulated enough to cry.
Yeah, didn't cry.
For those of you who don't know, when a baby is born with the umbilical cord wrapped around their neck, it is called a nuchal cord. The cord becomes wrapped around the neck usually during pregnancy or labor, and are usually quite common, ranging from 2 to 7 births.
Right. And then we actually got you tested, which they determined that you needed occupational therapy to improve on these issues that you had.
And then we did hearing testing because that was recommended. We took you to Nemours to get your hearing tested before you started pre-K, VPK. And they said there were certain sounds that you just were not hearing, and you were switching letters, like your V's and your W's and T's and things like that. You couldn't even form them. And if we were talking to you, we would say a word to you, but you weren't hearing that word. You were hearing something else. Through OCPS, Orange County Public Schools, we took you to a facility that offered testing of your skills. And that's where they told us that your muscle tone was weak and that you probably would need occupational therapy. So luckily, you were going to start pre-K at some point anyway, but we got you into VPK at your sister's school. And thank God that we did that, because that school offered occupational therapy there as well as speech therapy.
Yep.
And you went into that program and you were doing really well, but there was one teacher who said at one point that she won't be like other kids, that Bailey won't be able to walk and run like other kids. You'll never be able to hold a pencil or a pen like other kids. You would never be able to talk like other kids. You might not be able to keep up in class. Your grades might not be as strong. We did not believe that at all.
Nuchal cord can have a lot of different long-term effects that person may or may not go through depending on their situation, especially when they were born, or if it happened during pregnancy or labor. Based on my situation, I went through speech therapy in elementary school from like VPK until 3rd grade, until they said that there was nothing else that they could do for me, and I have done everything within the program. Over the years, I have still had the struggle of speech, hearing, and movement issues. If I ask someone to repeat something, I genuinely did not hear them, and I just need them to repeat that for me, or my brain's trying to process what they're saying. My hands probably don't have the best strength either, that especially compared to like the strength that other people do have in their hands. I still have a hard time pronouncing words and trying to speak, especially with like vowels and specific like B's and V's, W's, T's. And sometimes I do have to slow down and try and pronounce a word if it does take me a little bit longer, especially if my brain is going faster than what my mouth is doing. But I always try and get my point across no matter what, even if it takes me a little bit longer.
Even though the nuchal cord presented issues,
Mm-hmm.
we as parents did the right thing for our children, or our child.
We tried.
We tried.
We tried.
And that's what it boils down to. The parents actually have to take ownership of their children
Mm-hmm.
and do what's best for them, not what's just best for the community or the school that says this is all you're going to be. You just can't do that for your children.
Despite what doctors and teachers have said to my parents, I am able to operate like a normal person, even if it takes me a little bit longer trying to speak, trying to hear things, trying to move like a normal person, which defies what they had originally told my parents. I'm happy with the progress I've made over the years, especially looking back, and I couldn't have asked for a better outcome and outlook on how my life has gone. So I'm happy with the progress I've made, and I'm happy about where I'm going in the future. So yeah.